Hi, this is Rodrigo from Frame Freak Studio, and this is the Creative Hustler Show. Today's guest is Nicholas Smith, and I'm really excited because uh, this is the first person that I interview who is actually a theme park designer. He's a concept artist at Walt Disney Studios. He has made a lot of movie posters and even Black Panther's movie poster. His work has been published in the New York Times, in the Washington Post, CNN, a lot of media outlets, and he has been doing children's book as well. So we got a really pro guy here right now. So welcome, Nicholas.
Hello, hello. How's it going?
So first of all, for the people who first hear about you, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and the history and how did you decided to get into the art and becoming a theme park designer and all that?
Absolutely. Well, so I grew up in Houston, Texas, and I was drawing since, for as long as I could remember. I used to, watch all the Marvel shows and, X-Men and stuff and get the comic cards and try to recreate the paintings that I saw. Always drawing. Um, by the time that I got, through high school, I was like, well, I like art. I'm pretty good at math. And I decided to go into architecture. And so I went to Hampton University, which is an HBCU in Virginia. And once I was there, I found out about the Disney Imaginations competition. And that was, that there is a competition that lets you submit ideas for Disney. And so we entered that and made it out to California. And that's kind of how I started realizing that there's more than just residential architecture. I can do theme park architecture. And so, for the past 10 years, I've just been really realizing that, art is my passion and I need to start, drawing more and just doing more sketching. I started learning digital painting. And so digital painting became like my really like the thing that I want to do every day. And so I started to do pretty much like once a week. I would just do a different digital painting every week. And that's kind of how it happened. And, along the way, I've picked up more and more clients and, more fans and kind of become what I'm known for now is my digital paintings.
Nice. And it's incredible the era that we live right now because if we think about it, 10, 20 years ago, it wasn't like just the idea of going into art. And I think that is still a little bit present today. Was like, oh, like you're going to start to that or something like that. And now, even considering as yourself, like you can get to be a theme park designer. And I think that is one of the professions that nobody thinks when they are in high school and thinking, oh yeah, like I would like to be this, but exists and it's possible. So I think that that is amazing for this era.
Yeah, it was really nothing that I even knew about going into college, and so I'm very thankful for Imagineers like Marty Sklar, who was the one who decided to create the Imaginations competition, and that's how I ended up finding out about really Disney Imagineering. Um, but yeah, there's so many professions like that that you don't often hear about, or maybe even in the art world that you're taught that this isn't a lucrative profession, or you shouldn't go down that path because for whatever reasons, and usually it doesn't have anything to do with are you passionate about this thing. So it that kind of helped me to understand, like, well, I'm passionate about this, so this is what I want to do.
Nice. And considering this in the present what opportunities do you think that now exist thanks to technology that maybe people are still not aware of that much, or not taking as much as advantage of those opportunities now that they exist?
Well, that I think I keep hearing this stat. I forget the numbers, but I don't know, maybe 20 or 30% of jobs that will be, available and will be a thing in the next 10 years aren't even created yet. And it just shows like how fast technology is moving. And, speaks to like when I was in high school, I didn't know that digital artist was going to be a thing, or was a thing. And so back then for me, it was just pencil and paper. And so like there's so many things now. Like there are graphic designer and Photoshop illustrator and all these different types of positions that like I didn't think that I would be doing 20 years ago, but are available now. And there's so many more. There's so many programs that are coming out like every year now that are just like they're pushing the envelope. And it might be like a 2D 3D kind of amalgamated software that nobody thought that would be a thing 5 years ago. And now there's like a whole new career path that some about. Even in animation, there's beyond just like flash animation, there's all different types of styles and programs that are coming out. And some folks might realize like, oh, I don't just want to draw still images, but I want to actually make it a move. And so some people get into animation and they thought they wouldn't. So I think there's like limitless opportunities for people, as long as you're trying to like look at what's out there and look at what's next, look at what people are experimenting with. There's tons of options, really.
Yeah, definitely. Like I think a couple of years ago, it would be crazy to if somebody came to me and told me, I want to play video games all day and smoke pot. Everybody would call them crazy, and now they are called Twitch streamers.
Yeah, it's a
So
profession, and make a lot of money.
yeah, so if you met, let's say, a young, driven student with a lot of talent, and somebody who this is a person who wants to follow a similar career as you do, what advice would you give that student, and what advice do you think they should ignore?
I always think that one thing that I would tell students to do is to emulate the greats. So basically, look at who in your field, like basically find the the best in your field. If this is something that you're passionate about, you want to do, find the best person who does it and study them like day and night. Like just constantly study what it is that they do and how they do it, and how people that are their peers, how they do it. And I always say just try their style. um, there's a really cool um, docu series thing called Everything Is a Remix that I love, and it just kind of reminds me of the fact that like there's nothing really new. Like it's not it's not even it's not even a hindrance to try to copy someone's practicing if you're just experimenting. Oh well, how do they use their brush strokes and do their line work a certain way. Just try it out, and you're not ever going to recreate what somebody else does, because you are unique. And so once you try all these different styles, you're going to figure out what your own personal style is. So I would say always, yeah, just emulate the greats. Um, and something that I feel like you shouldn't do is just stick to one one artist. Like I know people have favorites, but like try not to stick to just this one person and I'm just gonna go with this style and try that forever and ever. Like there's so many different styles. So I'd say look at the people who are doing it now. Look at the greats from 100, 200 years ago. Just all all over.
Definitely. I think that when I saw this when Adventure Time came up, and then I saw a lot of illustrators doing like this time of illustration with noodle arms and things like that, and the first thing that I thought was that like okay, yeah, I know that this is what is hitting right now, but people should be trying to uh, test other things, right?
Right.
So on the topic of and this is a tricky one because I have found through my career that usually we have these ideas where we think that the most if we go to do something, if we have a goal, we have this idea. So okay, this is going to be the hardest, and initially that is not the hardest part of getting something done, but the things that we don't know, like something that comes up and we didn't even think about it, and think like, wow, I wasn't expecting that. So on the topic of finding out that part, what has been something that you didn't expect it at all when you started your path as an artist that well you had to deal with and it's really important in your career as a professional.
I'd say one thing that I did not expect was just how quickly, like at times, clients will ask for a certain type of delivery. Like there was one time where I created this viral art piece of the Golden Girls, the girls who won Olympic medals, and I got an offer in relation to Barnes and Noble to create a children's book out of the art, and the deadline was basically 3 weeks. Like, turn this one illustration into a children's book in 3 weeks. And there's so many clients out there who are like they will they will give you like a deadline like that where it's like, okay, I need this like very fast. And so with that, I just kind of had to adapt and learn how to just draw like as quickly as possible, but as like not sloppy, but like be very very quick and detailed, and as detailed as possible in a short amount of time. Like you're never gonna have a year to work on a client project. Like usually if it's illustration, you're not gonna have that long. So you just have to learn how to kind of not necessarily cut corners, but like you have to learn how to go as quickly as possible and make it as professional and high quality as you possibly can. And when that happened, I was like, yes, of course I will make a book in 3 weeks, and it's in Barnes and Noble now, and like I that's not something you pass up. So you just like sometimes you're not expecting, like you're expecting more time than you're given, but you have to make it work. So
Yeah, definitely. I definitely had those type of clients as well, and it's have been challenging, but I've been able to do something with it. Uh, on that topic, when you get like let's say a little bit overwhelmed by the challenge or unfocused, do
Mhm.
you have something that you do to get back to your center and pretty much create art again?
Sometimes I'll actually just go on Pinterest and like look at tons of different styles and different artists, and really just get inspiration from people who have been doing this for way longer than I have, and who are amazing, and I take notes from all the time. And sometimes I'll say just like um, I'll give this advice or do it for myself, but like some artist that is not even close to your style, and just try to create something in that style, just to kind of break away from, kind of get the creative juices flowing, and um, break away for a minute, and then after that little exercise, just come back and refocus on what you're doing.
Nice. Also, uh, has there ever been like a failure that you have, or let's call it, better say, apparent failure, something that you thought in the moment was bad, but ended up positioning yourself for success in the future?
Yes, and that thing is like something that I can't even really discuss in detail, but what it was like so bad that I thought that I was gonna just like quit everything and move back to Texas and just not come back to California. But in that, I decided to, stay here and, you know, keep going. But the thing that I'm I'm well, the thing that happened in that I really appreciate was that um I started to realize that I need to use um my passion of sketching to like pull me out of that moment. And so that's when I started doing the Sunday sketch series, where I was like, okay, every Sunday I'm just gonna take, anywhere from 5 minutes to 5 hours, and I'm gonna just do an art piece. And so that was 5 years ago, and I've been doing that for every Sunday for 5 years. Um, and that's how like my Sunday sketch book kind of came about, because I realized, oh, it's been 5 years. So I selected like my top 100 art pieces and put it into a book. And so now that's out. Came out in December, and um, it was just the realization that like just doing something consistently um, will, for one, it'll help like be that vehicle that drives you and pulls you out of something that you're going through, especially like very tough failures. Um, just doing creating art consistently, and it also it allowed people to have something to look forward to like every week. So it grew my fan base, but it was in a way that like it created an expectation for what was to come. And then it also just like helped me become a better artist, because I was just learning at the beginning of the 5 years. I was just really learning digital painting. And so now I feel like I'm so far ahead just from taking at least one day a week to do that.
Nice. Uh, this is going to be a really hard question, but I like to actually ask it because I found amazing answers with this. Let's say that you wake up tomorrow in a different dimension and nobody knows about you, nobody knows who you are, but you still have all your skills, all your knowledge, a place to live pretty much, and all your tools, and $500 in your pocket. What do you do to get to this point, professionally speaking, again, as soon as possible?
Let me see. Get a ooh do so I don't know. um, Man, well, laptops aren't cheap, but I would need a laptop and also like a Wacom tablet.
Yeah,
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 go
you
ahead.
have all your tools. You have your place to live, your tools, all
Okay,
knowledge,
great.
experience. Just nobody knows about you.
Man, I feel like I would just need to put myself in the position I was 5 years ago and like say that I'm gonna start from that point and just like I would probably accelerate it and say I don't want it to take 5 years, so I'm just gonna do a daily sketch rather than a weekly sketch and just create a new piece of art every day and just go. And I might use that money to do some, I don't know, some online classes or something. Just a little bit of that money for that, just to keep my skills, get my skills even further, and then also use some of that money to get, I think, to get my art sponsored somehow through posts to get them out there so that people will see it, because if they don't know who I am, then I gotta use some of that money to get my art in front of my eyeballs. So yeah.
Nice. Uh, Before we end this interview, is there any advice that you would like to give to the people watching us that we haven't discussed into this interview yet?
I would say some advice I have for just artists and designers is um, find find something that's out there in the world that is bigger than you, something that is very important, and something that you can reflect in your art. I think about always the Nina Simone quote that says, "It's an artist's duty to reflect the times," and I think that actually looking at what's going on in the world, and there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world, and reflecting some of those things will take your designs and your art farther than you could imagine. Just to try to speak to some of the very serious issues that are going on in the world. So yeah, it's my advice.
Thanks a lot, Nicholas. If people want to find about you, where will be the best place to find you in internet?
You can go to Nikkolas.com, and it's a little bit different spelling. It's with two K's, Nikkolas.com, and also Nicholas.art and Nicholas_Smith on Instagram.
Awesome. Uh, Thanks a lot for giving us your time. It's been truly appreciated. I know that you're really busy, so thanks a lot for being here, Nicholas.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
So it has been the last episode of the Creative Hustler Show. If you like it, please click the like button below in this video. And if you're watching us in the website, then share this post with all your friends. Until next time.